Nikki Haley, who has made both funding Ukraine and funding Israel a big part of her platform, has picked up a big endorsement in New Hampshire. The granite state's very popular governor, Sununu, is the latest Republican to say Haley's momentum should send her to the White House.
There was a sweet older woman who has come to a lot of events, and I saw her coming in here. And she said, "So are you going to finally endorse Nikki Haley for president?" You bet I am. Let's get this thing done. We are all in on Nikki Haley, undoubtedly.
Okay. Rarely in my career in television have I had to bleep an endorsement, but always new. New day for something. Haley has seen her poll numbers jump more than 16 points in the last 3 months. Chris Hahn is here, host of the Aggressive Progressive podcast, syndicated Chris Hahn radio show. All right, Chris, you've said the Democrats should be scared of Nikki Haley. Does this make you more scared?
Yeah. I think that if she wins in New Hampshire, which is possible, I don't know that it's likely yet, but it is possible, she could take him out. I think once you show Trump can be beaten, others will try to help you beat him. And I think that that's a possibility. Look, Sununu is very popular among independents in New Hampshire who have the ability to vote in the Republican primary this January. Considering there's no viable opponent to Joe Biden in New Hampshire, a lot of independents might want to weigh in and say, hey, here's our chance to stop Trump. Yeah. Let's vote for Nikki Haley. Sununu is as popular as they come. He comes with an organization on the ground that has been very successful in New Hampshire. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, Sununu and politics in New Hampshire have gone together for like 40 years. So they've got something. You kind of stole my thunder, but I'm going to put up the chart of approval of Governor Sununu's job performance, 63-35. That is popular as any governor gets. And then you put up Haley, whose star is rising, right? September 17th, Haley 2.5, Trump 44. Now Haley almost at 19, Trump at 46. So it's started. The lines are starting to converge. I'm fascinated by the point you brought up of Democrats and Democratic leading independents who might say, I'm really kind of tired of Joe Biden. And part of the 51% who say they would vote for Nikki Haley against Joe Biden. You really think that's possible?
I don't know that Democrats are going to vote for Nikki Haley against Joe Biden at the end of the day. But I do think independents in New Hampshire are going to vote against Donald Trump in New Hampshire. I think that is very, very possible. And I think given the fact that she is going to tap in to a very successful political organization in New Hampshire led by its governor, that helps her dramatically in that state. Look, you and I have both been to New Hampshire for these primaries in our career. It is very cold, and organization matters. Who are you going to help? Who's going to help get your people to the polls? Now, look, New Hampshire voters take this very seriously. They come out. It's a scene up there. But having a good organization with a lot of favors in the bank, like Governor Sununu has, pushing for you, can be very helpful for somebody. And I think Nikki Haley's the right candidate for that state. And I think she's the wrong candidate if you're Joe Biden. You do not want to be facing off against Nikki Haley. I think she is very, very difficult to beat. And I think it would wreak havoc on Democrats across the country, not just in the presidency, but in the Senate and the House as well.
I'm going to correct you just a little bit in the effort to be both fair and factual. I was overseas during some primaries and then was holding down the anchor desk, looking forward to going to New Hampshire this time around. And I think it's going to be interesting, as you point out, to see what's going to happen.
I will tell you this. Bring warm clothes, my friend, because it is cold. That's why, look, having an organization that's got somebody with heated vans all over the state driving your voters to the polls, that's a pretty good thing.
Yeah. Where are we, though, in the political arc of where endorsements either matter or don't matter? I'm fascinated that a Democrat is at least a little bit nervous about this, but why all of a sudden does Sununu in New Hampshire's endorsement matter? And we're looking at live pictures, or maybe perhaps tape from the rally a few minutes ago. But it was. There's a real crowd there. People in New Hampshire actually care. Do we look at New Hampshire differently than we do the rest of the country, where you and I probably agree that endorsements don't mean much?
I don't think in a general election or in a big state election, endorsements matter at all. I think in a state like New Hampshire, in a month like January, February, when we have these primaries, I think his endorsement and his organization matter a lot. I think they are worth their weight in gold. I think and I think the organization matters as much as the man. I think the organization behind Sununu, the Sununu family, that like we've alluded to, have been running New Hampshire one way or the other for generations. I think that's very important in a primary situation in the cold winter months in New Hampshire. So having that organization and that ground game available to you, which is what you really get when you get him,
right?
I think that's very valuable to her. And I think Donald Trump should be very concerned about this. I know he's going to blow it off when he finally speaks about it, but he is wrong. This is a guy who could help her win. Now, Donald Trump crushed in New Hampshire.
Yeah, Hahn, look, you surprised me, okay? You disagree with Donald Trump about something. It's unbelievable. We got to run, but excellent points, my friend. We'll talk soon. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.